For those of you who are taking Thesis Seminar, I wanted to create this short video on what to include and what to consider when preparing for your oral defense. Specifically, your PowerPoint presentation and some things to keep in mind as you prepare for your talk. Your oral defense will last for 30 minutes, so you need to prepare your presentation that will last for 20 minutes, and then we'll conclude with a 10-minute question and answer. There'll be 3 examiners there who will ask you questions once you have completed your presentation. So you need to prepare yourself not only for the presentation but possible questions that might come up. Now, the things to include in your PowerPoint presentation very much will be what you included in your written thesis, and will follow the same order. So you'll begin with a problem. So just as you hook the audience when you begin writing in your introduction, try to do the same with some sort of famous quote, a statistic, or even a question. But it should evolve around a problem that is the basis of your study. So remember, any research investigates some sort of problem, otherwise it's not worth even researching. So when you present your problem, make sure you include a citation so that you can support your claim. Once you have presented your problem, then you want to go into your literature review. You should plan approximately 9 to 10 minutes or half of your talk to cover the problem and the literature review. Once you've completed the literature review, then you want to introduce the purpose of your study. So I would use language like the purpose of the study is to investigate the following research questions, and then present your research questions. Once you've presented your research questions, then you want to go into the methods section where you begin introducing your participants, the instruments that you used for your study, and the procedure. You'll begin by talking about how you collected the data, then go into the codes that you used. Very briefly, say that you used a coding system for analyzing your data. Do make sure that you mention that it's a qualitative, quantitative, or mixed methods. And if you did a discourse analysis, I would also mention that at that time. Then you'll continue on with the results and discussion. Remember that the purpose of the results and discussion is to precisely answer the questions or the research questions that you're investigating, and also to include any recommendations. So just as you want to maintain a balance between results and discussion in the written thesis, you want to try to do the same in your oral defense. Use any tables, graphs, images that you used also in your PowerPoint presentation, so that it gives some sort of graphic image to complement what you're saying. And then you want to conclude with a conclusion, and again restate your thesis statement, talk about the past, present, and the future. So you're going to summarize your literature review, summarize your findings, and then summarize any future research that someone else could conduct or extend beyond what you investigated. If you do have any limitations I forgot to mention, I would mention those somewhere in the methods section. The next thing I want to talk about really now is kind of the appearance. That is things to consider when you're preparing for your presentation. And I'm going to talk in terms of PowerPoint, but certainly you can, if you're preparing your presentation using prezi, that's fine too, but I think the principles are the same. First thing is contrast, and I have this screen up with various videos that I highly recommend that you check out. Specifically, Life After Death by PowerPoint. This 9-minute video has over 1 million views. It's very popular, and it's kind of entertaining as well, so check this video out. Also look at this How to Avoid Death by PowerPoint by David J.P. Phillips, and actually I have a few quotes from this video that I find helpful, and I think that you would find helpful as well. So I would definitely check out these two, and there's some other videos here. If you just search Death by PowerPoint, you're going to find a lot of videos that are worth viewing, but certainly these 2 videos I would highly recommend. The first thing I want to talk about is contrast, and I would specifically look at what David J.P. Phillips has to say about contrast and what you can do to bring out text. And at the end of the day, the text needs to be easily read, and so definitely check out what he has to say about contrast. But he makes one point, a couple of points that are really important that I think that's worth mentioning. And the first is simply, you are the presentation. So keep that in mind, that you are the focus. What you say is important, and the audience is going to be paying more attention, or should be paying more attention, to what you have to say versus what you're presenting through PowerPoint. So remember that PowerPoint is only a visual aid, and that you are the presentation. Now the text, again, a lot of these things I'm going to just review, and it's most of these videos here that I'm sharing with you today, they mention this as well, but a lot of times with regard to text, less is more. So you don't want to have too much text in your PowerPoint presentation. And bullet points, try to avoid those. You want to use images as long as they don't become a distraction. And I think David Phillips mentions 6 being the number of objects to include in a slide, or that is up to 6. So try to avoid including over 6 objects in a slide. Now, objects could be a group of text, it could be an actual image, it could be a title. So try to stick to that rule, 6 or less objects per slide. And each slide should address one message. So one message per slide. The font types, I would stick to Times New Roman or Arial, and I would not use more than 3 different types. Probably 2 would be recommended, but no more than 3. And a font type, what I mean by that is the actual type of font and the size. So you don't want to have a lot of different sizes or a lot of different types of fonts. My personal recommendation, up to 3. Probably 2 would suffice. Your colors, just make sure that they are not distracting. That, again, this kind of relates to contrast, but you want it to be easy on the eyes and not a distraction to where they are looking more at the PowerPoint, or it's distracting from the text or the message really that you're communicating via the PowerPoint presentation. Now, some of the last things I want to talk about here are really pertaining to things that you learned in your public speaking course. So it probably would be worth your while to kind of reflect back on your experience with public speaking. Make sure that you keep good eye contact because you're going to be in the Isioptica. It's not a big hall, it's fairly small, so you'll be able to maintain direct eye contact. Make sure that you give equal time with each of the examiners as far as your eye contact. Make sure your voice projection is good, and that you have a dynamic speech, that you're using a lot of stress and emphasis, and that your hand gestures are not distracting, and your body language as well as your nonverbal communication are all appropriate for what you want to say. So remember that you are there to present a message, and try not to distract from that message, either from your putting information into your PowerPoint or just your own behavior. Now, you may use note cards, and what I would recommend is actually using the note function in PowerPoint if you're going to use PowerPoint. So you can actually create notes per slide and then print those out and use those if you wish, or some students choose to use just regular index cards. Some students choose not to use any notes. But what you want to try to do is prepare for your presentation by being able to speak about a topic without having to read it, whether you're reading it directly from note cards or obviously reading it from the PowerPoint presentation, which you want to avoid. You want to be able to speak long enough about any particular message, long enough to where you don't have to read a lot directly from the text. Now, you may have to read a few direct quotes. You will have to probably look at some tables that you will have to discuss. But by and large, most of your discussion should be just at the top of your head, something that you prepared for and something that you feel comfortable talking about for 20 minutes. So basically that's it. Remember that we'll be working with you in your mock presentation to give you feedback as well. Keep some of these ideas in mind. These will be things that we'll be discussing. And when you prepare for your final presentation, remember it is a formal event, and it is by invitation only, so you can choose to invite whomever you want, or you can choose to present by yourself. That's up to you. But do arrive early. Make sure you arrive, I would say, half an hour early, just to make sure that everything's up and running. You need to make sure that there's a computer there and that you have your file available, so you can get with either other classmates or just bring your own computer. But you will need to make arrangements to make sure that the equipment there is all set up and ready to go. We will furnish a projector, but do make plans on bringing a computer and having that ready to go for your presentation. Finally, some of you are asking about how many slides you should include, and it's not so much how many slides that you're using, but how much information you're putting into one slide. So remember, one message per slide, and you just plan and time your presentation accordingly, and use the number of slides necessary to fill up the 20 minutes, including everything that we've talked about: the problem, literature review, the purpose of your study, that is the research questions, the method, research discussions, and your conclusion. So hope this helps. If you do have any questions, feel free to contact me. We will no longer have tutoring sessions for the rest of the semester, but if anyone needs to meet with me, feel free to contact me. We can schedule a time. And if you want to show me your presentation beforehand too, feel free to do so. And good luck. I look forward to seeing all of your presentations.